So I'm gonna go ahead and call the meeting of the Senior Services Grant Commission to order. I'd like to expedite this a little bit. I know everybody's time is kind of crunched today. I think we can do that. So can we go around and take a real quick roll call, please?
Goldman.
Oh, here.
Hart.
Here.
Hendricks.
Here.
Hennings.
Here.
Hill.
She's here.
Holtz. Kunkel.
Here.
Meshes. Nicholas.
Here.
Fletz.
Here.
Ruth.
Yep.
Wade.
Here.
And Altough.
Here. Great, thank you. We have a quorum. Unfortunately, we had some little difficulty in getting out the agendas that kind of came in bits and pieces. And so the minutes were in the original agenda that was sent out to you that was not complete. They were not included in the second iteration of the agenda that was sent out that included a better agenda with the new business. So with your permission, I'm going to just defer the approval of those minutes until the September meeting when you have more time to really review them and look at them.
Sounds good.
Public comment. We do have someone who signed in for public comment. John, do you want to?
No, I'm here to observe.
Just to observe? Okay, great. Thank you very much. Old business. Bianca, do you want to go through the second quarter financials just to make sure that all those grantees are where they need to be financially?
Yes, so we do have some slow spenders. Harvard Community Senior Center, the Senior Center program has 67% remaining, and the Pearls program has 78% remaining. These are for the updates.
I have that. Yeah.
All right, so I did go ahead and reach out to them. They are slow spending. This was how they were last year as well. The reason for them is because they have other grant programs that end first. So they try to expend that money first, and then our money ends, or our program ends until November 30th, so they go ahead and use most of it towards the end. As far as last year goes, they did go ahead and spend pretty much all of it. The Senior Center left 2%, and Pearls, they left 9%, $874. So they did really well with their spending last year, even though they did the same thing. They go ahead and use our money till the end, but I don't see them having any issues. Everyone else though, they are pretty much spending down.
Does anybody have any questions or comments with regard to the financial update? And everyone's comfortable with the saving of some of those expenditures by those organizations till the end? We all understand why that's necessary? Okay, great. Scott, can I ask you to give us a little bit of a transportation update on what's going on at the county level as it relates to our senior services in transportation?
Sure, yeah, I'll start a little bit with some of the stuff the county's working on.
Thank you.
So I talked last time about the MC Ride Connect program, which is that Uber subsidy that we're providing to seniors and people with disabilities. We finally worked out some of the details with Uber and this other company we're working through. So I've heard that starting next week that people that are registered for this program are going to start receiving that Uber subsidy. We've got, I think the last time I checked, over 100 people have registered, a lot of them senior citizens. And again, for those that weren't here last time, we're giving up to $16 per trip on people's Uber rides, or UServe, which is another company that operates like Uber. And basically they can go anywhere they want. So if the ride's $25, the county will pay 16, the rider pays the 9. So it's just a way to provide much more affordable transportation for senior citizens beyond the typical bus, right? So we're always trying to think about, for those people that don't want to use the bus or can't use the bus, we wanted to give them other options, and this is one option for them going forward. So that was the first thing. The second thing is I want to talk a little bit about some of the discussions we've been having with the townships and the Village of Hebron regarding their programs. So early on, we had been approached by McHenry Township, which was pretty much kind of leading this effort to see how they could coordinate their services more closely together and potentially find help either through the county or through PACE to provide more service at a lower cost. Early on, those conversations were we thought fruitful. We had heard that they wanted to sort of combine into one consolidated program serving Hebron, McHenry Township, and Richmond Township. But I guess over time, things have sort of devolved, and I think everybody's still kind of doing their own separate thing. And that's why you see 3 separate proposals before you today under this packet. We have talked with PACE about how PACE could be a partner in helping these townships reduce their costs. I know PACE provided some information about how they could be of assistance, whether it's using different vehicle types, other opportunities that are out there funded by PACE. But I'm not sure, I don't think any of those options really went anywhere at the township level. So unfortunately, I think we're kind of status quo on the township side. What you saw last year is kind of what you're seeing again this year. And that's pretty much all the information that I have. Pam, did I miss anything or anything you wanted to
We did
elaborate on?
have, just so you all know too, we did have an offer from Independent Therapy and Health to take over the Hebron program because that seemed to be an extraordinarily vulnerable area. There were only 7 regular riders. Richmond had entered into an intergovernmental agreement with Hebron and expanded that service. So now it is kind of door to door rather than picking up the 7 people and taking. But Woodstock still has indicated that they would be more than willing to work with us and work with Hebron to provide services to those people, perhaps expanding it to 2 days a week, not 1 day a week. But that is out there because I know that that was a huge issue for a lot of us when we talked about it last year. So that offer still remains in abeyance, kind of back here until we move forward.
And keep in mind, the county's transit program, MC Ride, is still covering these areas up in the northeast part of the county. Our service is just right on top of their services, operating in the same areas, doing the same kind of thing. So, unfortunately, I thought I'd have better information to share about these programs today, but I think we are where we are, and the county is going to be a partner, and we're going to assist in any way we can going forward at the DOT. So.
And I want to note that both County Board Member Von Bergen and I made several meetings with the townships and did try and promote many of these options as well as offering other assistance, and we're where we were exactly 1 year ago today. So I just offer that for informational purposes. Anybody have any questions? Comments? Okay, rolling on to new business. Hans, do you want to talk a little bit about the policy review? We've had conversations internally. I would say that these fall into kind of 3 categories. The easiest one is to include, as we had talked about, our investment proposal that really should go into the policy as part of our regular business to document. The second is just kind of sort of us updating the policy and making it more in tune with what is actually happening, and then the name changes that we've had at some of the committee levels. And then the third is, again, my initiative, and I will defer to all of you for that conversation, but I don't want staff to get beat up for this, but it was mine. I really believe that it should be our policy, and it should be stated up front that this commission is not going to fund any other units of local government. If programs want to happen by them, I think it's admirable, and I'm fully in support of those things. I just don't think we should take county taxpayer dollars and utilize it for other taxing bodies. That's a conversation we can have, but I'm going to let Hans go through all of these changes first.
Yeah, so right here, we're looking just at some cleanup of the languages since the last time this was updated in 2016. So the name of this committee actually has changed and now includes the CDBG, and everything comes here. So that's just some language cleanup there. If you want to scroll down, yeah, okay. So this is the investment. And
Wait a minute, you gotta back up, I missed something. Now includes CDBG.
Yep, so this, the Public Health and Community Services Committee now handles CDBG. It used to be the Planning and Development Committee, which is now the Planning, Environment, and Development Committee. So we don't report to that one anymore, we report here.
Got it.
So we come here for everything. We're not here, Public Health and Community Services.
I needed an update, thank you.
Sure, of course. So as Pam mentioned, the annual investment, so the funds were placed in various length CDs in order to gain more interest. This is something that we do also under our CDBG program. Is called a lump sum drawdown that we can do for rehab projects. But what we stated here is, how are we going to handle these funds? And so what's proposed is all in green there, and it indicates that on November 30th annually, so whatever amount of interest has been gained, 3.5% will be allocated at the following September for funds. And so it's not gonna be a big amount initially, but over time, these funds will gain more and more money, so it's almost kind of like a foundation would operate. So the amount proposed is 3.5%. That's something we wanted to throw out there as a number to kind of chew on. So that's what's out there. And then if you want to go down to the eligible.
And typically, when you see that 3.5 the first year, just give it a dollar number so everybody understands.
It's probably going to be $5,000-$6,000
Okay,
more.
just
So-
okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah, you know, I was like up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, what amount is that going to be? Can't sleep sometimes. If you want to scroll down to the eligible parts, and these are going to be in red. So we had taken that language out, that was taken out in 2016, item 3, because it was sort of redundant. So that's something that's just already part of it. If you want to scroll down now to eligible organizations. Okay, and this is the other part about it is relegating this mainly to nonprofit organizations. And so those changes that we see here are just kind of reflective of newer language that we use, like older adults, being very clear that it's nonprofit organizations and eliminating the ability to allocate funds to units of local government. And I believe that's.
And I wanted to throw one little pitch in there. So with the eligible organizations, it does say that within the statutory requirements of the Illinois law. Just wanted to say that in the Illinois law, we did go ahead and look it up. It does not mention units of local government, so we're not stepping over anyone's toes or anything.
So if you want to scroll down then and just, there should be just some consistency with language throughout. So those letters of support we no longer request, just gets to be a lot of information that you don't need, kind of onerous. Again, some more cleanup of the current committee that we report to, the name change. And then nothing's changed here. Let's see. Same timing. And so this is something that we did to assist our finance department. So for the final draw of the year, the final quarter, we're requesting that they be submitted by December 15th rather than allowed to the end of the month, because it starts to get cramped in closing out the books at the end of the year. So we may want to think about that date. That might be a little soon for people, but in my role in nonprofits, we always have things done by that time and turn things in. So back in the day when.
And I would say that even if we have to make some adjustments year one, we can do that internally. I still think as an overall policy, this is where we want to go. And so I would just suggest that we leave that in with the understanding that year one, we might have to play a little and be a little bit more flexible than not. But
Definitely, we want them to get their reimbursements for sure, so.
right.
All right, I think maybe again, there might be just a little more cleanup in here. So we just established that this is federal regulation that we're talking about there, that had changed since 2014 when that was approved by Congress. And then this is another thing that we get all the time, and so sometimes a good example would be somebody goes on a maternity leave. Somebody else is going to take their place. There's all kinds of things coming back and forth about that. So I think that those things, being realistic at a nonprofit organization, people leave, they get sick, et cetera, so somebody else takes their place.
And there's also leadership changes. I mean, we've talked about that. There's some mentoring and there's some succession planning going on. And this is part of some of that too. So it's not just people leaving, it's also a standard program in some of our not-for-profits, right?
Yeah, and so we're looking, like, if they majorly change their staffing pattern, that's when we're kind of gonna come back to the committee or to the commission. So that's another thing that we have up there. What we have to do for contract amendments is when they're moving the categories significantly, that's another change that we have to bring that to the county in some way, county board. So we have not had anybody request that big of a change in some time. So they've kind of stayed in their lanes, their funds. All right, and then
I think that's it.
that might be it, yeah.
So those are the proposals, open for discussion. Anyone want to add anything? This is, feedback. Otherwise, we're gonna make the presentation and go forward. And I don't wanna be, leading people that don't wanna be led down a certain path.
Would this mean that the townships that are on this year's request would be no longer, or would be eliminated?
I would, that's a conversation we could have, whether we wanna continue that this year or not. Obviously, next year definitively
Oh,
no.
I see. Okay.
But, it would be my recommendation not to include them this year as well. And I will tell you too, right now I have the opportunity, there is one other program on here that is a startup program. And just for those of you who do not know, we, the Senior Services Grant Commission, we do not fund startup programs. So we have notified that entity of same, but we'll take care of that in just a few minutes.
When are you no longer considered a startup program?
I think it has to be a full year.
Right,
Full year?
How many?
a full
One
year.
full year.
And that's a full year of operations in McHenry County, or is it a full year of operations? Just your
That's a
entity?
great question. I'm gonna assume it means McHenry County, because they'd have to be serving our people.
Yeah.
Right, so the
that's
one in
for our
question,
county.
The
yeah,
one
the
in
one in
question
question
is-
is, they're in the county and they're starting up just a brand new, thing that they currently don't do. So the idea would be that they start that thing up on their own, run
Right.
it for a year, and then come in for funding.
But let's say there's an entity in
Like Habitat for
Rockford or
Humanity, we
someplace,
can use that, yeah.
Some of that's
It's a
all the way
national-
around, but they
Yeah.
don't have a division here in McHenry County, just hypothetically. They would still need to come here, establish here for 1 year in McHenry County before we would consider allocating.
You might wanna clean that language up to be very
Yeah.
specific about that. That's a great catch.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. And
Because we do have national organizations that ask for money, right?
They do,
I mean,
yeah, we do. So let's think about how we.
I have one question. So the local taxing body ban, would that also include, not saying it is or has happened, but like McHenry County Sheriff or no? Would they be prohibited or no?
I'm gonna say
It would have
yes.
I would say yes.
I would say yes
I don't
too.
think they've ever come before
I don't
us
think
for
I have either,
anything.
but I was just thinking.
No,
But the
if it
health
included-
department, well, we have had the health department come to try to start up a senior in-home care and
But
so-
again, you can't make
that would
that,
be the
you can't make
same.
that exclusion just for us, you really can't. If they're a taxing body in any way, shape, or form, they have to work that out in their levies and their taxing organization. This needs to be for those who we need to help, who don't have any other means of allocating or getting these funds, to my mind. I'm not telling you what to do, but
I mean, I'm old. I say this at every meeting. I remember when we did this referendum. And it really was to assist not-for-profits provide services to seniors in McHenry County.
Well,
That was the intent.
And transportation.
You're old too.
Yeah, I've been here since day one, so.
And public health is not a not-for-profit. It's not for-profit, it's a government entity. But, so it doesn't fit that definition.
Right, but
I
and
agree with Matt.
transportation was huge then because we didn't have transportation here. And all the townships were doing their transportation programs. So transportation, when the senior services did that survey that prompted the referendum, transportation was the key to keeping people in their homes. So, so that's where I struggle, because transportation still is an issue, and some of our seniors do still require that door-to-door service. And some of them can't pay that $9 difference with the Uber. They pay that dollar, or they don't pay anything for their transportation, and I still struggle, and I will always fight for those seniors that need that extra assistance to get out of their house, to get what they need, and to be able to get back in their house.
But it's really hard to drill down to that specific entity. Scott and obviously McDot, they work very, very hard with PACE. I mean, on the transportation, we work very hard to provide these services, and yet there are still a myriad of complaints with the services. It's just fiscally not possible at some point.
Well,
I don't disagree,
And I understand
but
that
that
there
almost
are,
needs to be a new nonprofit organization that starts in McHenry County that literally drills down to those specific people who cannot do this any other way, Uber or Pace or the bus, you know.
And I have more too. Scott?
So DOT is a unit of local government that used to get senior services grant dollars. So I can speak to this point, I think, more than most people. You know, back in the day, back in 2015, I think we got $250,000 from this body. And so we were probably the largest grantee at a certain point for senior grant dollars. Over time, the county did make the decision to move away from senior grant money and utilize our own tax levies, our motor fuel tax revenue, our sales tax revenue, other sources beyond senior grant dollars. You know, I like to defend the government that provide transportation because I do think there's some things that government can do more efficiently and effectively than nonprofits. However, I understand that if you're a taxing body with other sources of funding at your disposal, it's not that we're cutting them off, right? They have the ability to raise additional revenue through higher taxes to fund their transportation programs without senior grant dollars.
And join ours.
And they also have the county's program at their disposal that we're there to help them.
That's the biggest one, yeah.
So I want to just put those things out there that A, I think there is a role for government to play providing transportation, but B, these other entities do have sources of funding beyond these dollars that we program out on an annual basis.
And how long has it been since McDOT has requested money from?
I think we gave up the money, I think 2015 might have been our last year that we, 2016? I was here back then too, so yeah.
Well, that's right when I was leaving, so
Yes,
that's what I
correct.
remember.
And that's true of all the other townships that used to come before us and ask for funds too. They ultimately
I
all
remember that.
hold off.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Peg?
Yes, I just wanted to say that my feelings are in sympathy with Mary's, but I have to say it's very frustrating that Scott and Pam, you gave so much assistance to those township entities to try and move them along and try and help them find another way, and there's been no movement,
And we still will do that. The
Yes.
comment is out there. We still will do that. You know, we have other buckets of money at the county level. I am just, and I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying I don't think the funds should come from this program.
And on that point, if I may, so Mr. Kunkel sits on our transportation committee at the county board level. We at DOT grant out transportation dollars to other entities for transportation programs, right? So if this body decides not to fund certain township programs, that doesn't mean that a different,
Come to us for that.
it doesn't mean a different county department couldn't fund those programs in the future if there was a desire to do so by the county board. I will just ask a point of clarification for Hans maybe. What about entities that are sort of chartered by units of local government, like the housing authority, like the senior centers? Those are sort of created by units of government, are they not?
That creates a little conundrum, but I think we would say the housing authority is quasi-governmental, they're not really.
well, they're federal government funded, they're not local government funded.
Right.
But like the Harvard Senior
So that-
Center,
that'll be the difference.
I don't know the Harvard Senior Centers, how they're structured or how they're created.
Mhm.
I'm sure they get tax dollars from the city of Harvard, right?
It's a nonprofit organization.
It is, okay.
Well, the Door Township Senior Center is on the list this year too.
Well, that's really kind of what's facilitated this conversation again. That is funded by the township. The conversation is if it's funded by the township, they can't serve any residents except in the township. So it's not really serving McHenry County, it's only serving those people in that township, which means that, you know, what about Algonquin Township?
Well, yeah.
That's my
And for
dilemma.
seniors for sure, it's for seniors for sure, but again, it's not equitable to all, just to that
Well,
little.
and the program they're doing was the SOAR
It's the
program, but
same
isn't that
one as
what
Harvard.
Harvard is doing?
Well, they have,
That Harvard
they
Center-
share a
the-
manager,
right.
yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, didn't Harvard say that they're serving the whole entire county? So then why? That's where I always get confused too.
Harvard City, I don't know what that
No, but
authority
they-
is, but township is.
They've said they serve, because that's a question we've asked.
Anyone can
over
No,
go.
the
I
years
mean, I
with
don't know,
Harvard.
I don't know if Harvard can spend their tax dollars anywhere they want. I know townships can only spend their tax dollars in the township.
Right, but that particular program, they marketed it to us as they are serving the entire county.
Right.
So if that's what they're doing, then why aren't they serving Door Township? If we're paying Harvard to facilitate the program.
It doesn't mean they're not, it just means Dora has decided they want to do their program. I would just say that. I also note too that, again, we've worked very collaboratively, I think, with the other townships on their transportation program. We will continue to do that because I do value the services they're doing. But if you look on your sheets, they're at, except for McHenry, both the village and Richmond are asking for full cost. They want us to underwrite the program completely. And in my conversations with all of those entities, they will continue those programs with or without our money.
Yeah, this is just gonna push them to find the money elsewhere.
Right.
They're not gonna stop it.
And we don't want to
And
be
that's
known as
okay.
the
Well-
low-hanging fruit of money giveaway here.
Yeah.
We really don't,
Well, there's
We'll write
just so
letters
many
of
other
support and do whatever,
needs.
but my position on this was I don't believe that you use commission, particularly when we had to fight as hard as we had to fight, thank you, gentlemen, in increasing the levy so that we actually, after 20 years, get more money to serve our seniors, right? But that's, again, you guys have to have, I've been very clear about my position across the board with everybody.
I agree with that.
Do we need to take an official vote, or do I have enough people who agree that you're okay with this policy and we should just go forward?
Fine.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. And thanks, Hans, for all of the work. Really appreciate it. Bianca, you too. Thanks. Moving on then is the time to review the pre-applications. And so I would say just on initial look, except for the new program, which was the Y program, wasn't it, the YMCA? And then the township programs, I would allow everyone to come and present. Outside of those five, outside of those five, sorry.
So say again which ones were
Yeah,
not.
could you name
That
that?
I would not allow Richmond Township, the Village of Hebron, and McHenry Township, which all fall into that transportation. Door Township, which is the SOAR program, and then the YMCA program, which is called
And that was
Sage YMCA, the Senior Resource Navigation, because it's a startup. And they are aware
Yeah.
that we explained to them that they can come back next year, but not this
I
year.
would like to add ElderWorks to that as well. They don't do direct service for seniors. It's an information referral. They do training for service providers, but they're not a
I
provider
agree
to
with that.
seniors.
I absolutely agree.
Who are we talking about?
ElderWorks.
Thank you. Oh, there they are.
What are we,
Yeah, that
what
gives
are we
them
talking
all-
about, which one?
Not inviting them to
ElderWorks.
to fill out a full.
They would not come and do a presentation.
Because they don't provide direct service.
Correct.
Which they will understand to mean we are not considering them.
Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. So that's what today is about. Today is about who we don't want to have come in September and make a full presentation.
Because ElderWorks seems like it's just an all administrative process.
Yes.
There's no actual services being provided. There's a service, but
Yes.
very quasi, that's for
Right.
sure.
It's information and referral, and that's not gonna,
So do you want a motion to remove those five?
6.
Six.
So move.
Unless there's further discussion, that would be great. Are you offering to make that motion, Ms.
and
Hill?
I will second that.
Seconded by Commissioner Reed. Any further conversation or discussion? May we have a roll call vote, please?
Goldman.
Goldman,
Oh, what?
removing the six.
To remove them.
Yeah,
Hart.
it's fine, I'm fine with it.
Yes.
Hendricks.
Yes.
Henning.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes, lots of
Kunkel.
H's.
I sometimes have trouble.
Nicholas.
Yes.
Klutz.
Yes.
Ruth. Ruth.
Yes.
Reed.
Yes.
Altough.
Yes. Okay, unanimous. Thank you very much. I'm sure the board will be very happy to hear that. The next item on the agenda is the review of the Neighborly portal. I want you all to become somewhat familiar with what's being used now moving forward.
Okay, so at this time, I did go ahead and email everybody out the application, the pre-application, and the financial capacity log. However, this time around, the application portal is gonna open up for the applicants on Monday, and we'll close August 9th is the day that the application portal closes. So that day, I have to double check on that date. It might be the week after. However, at that time, all the applications are gonna close, and I will go ahead and actually add you as a reviewer to our neighborly portal. That is how you will be able to access the application and all of these supporting documents that these entities are gonna provide to us to apply for the program.
Wait, I'm completely confused. These entities that we're considering are now gonna be in this new portal?
Yes.
They have to do, right, they'll give us substantially more information for you to review prior to the presentation so that you're prepared to ask any questions that you may have, you know, cost per unit, whatever it is, that after you've reviewed all that information. So instead of giving it to you in a drive or sending it to you via email, you'll be able to access all of that information directly.
And have you used it already?
That is what, they submit all their applications through that portal. We've been using it for the past maybe, 4 or 5 years?
We have not.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
so it is user-friendly?
It is very user-friendly. I will be available
Okay.
any day of the week. I'm sorry.
Can we print the
Yes, you can
applications
print from there, you can download, you can print. I wanna
So-
say some of you commissioners might have already used it, because I do have a list of people that actually are already set up, and your name's in there, so I don't
I've
know.
never used it.
Okay, so maybe they just signed you guys up, but it is
Well, they
very
did. A
user-friendly.
few years ago, we were supposed to use
Yes,
it.
yes.
We never did.
That's right.
But
That's
that's
right.
probably how some names got in.
Yep, so I will go ahead and actually, our neighborly tech person has assisted me with this short video that I have. I will go ahead and resend an email reminder to everyone that already is in the program. I think Rhonda's name is in there as well. And then all our new users, I'll also set you up directly. That way you guys don't have to do anything out of your way. You're gonna receive an email that looks like this. So this, I will go ahead and send out an email for myself prior to sending this out. That way you are aware that it's coming and you don't mistake it for being a fish or a scam. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video real quick. So
The
this is
review
what the
portal
email's
to
gonna
review and
look
provide a
like.
score. If you've not used it before, you'll need to click register to create a password.
Perfect. I think that sounds like a lot easier route to take. I think I'm gonna take that route then. So what's up?
All right.
What's me?
So awesome. So next from that reviewer portal, once you've added them, and again, you're gonna have, if you're assigning them to multiple applications, they're gonna see all of the applications that they need to score.
Mm-hmm.
So they just click the door icon to enter in this case. And once this loads up, now we have that score summary for them. This complete scoring is where they'll actually enter it, and you'll notice it looks just.
I'm gonna pause it right there. So we are also gonna be using the scoring mechanism. I will leave it up to you if you guys do wanna use this, or if you don't wanna use the scoring.
You know what, discussion. My suggestion would be is I would use it, and if we find it valuable, great, but we don't have to lock in on it and say that because you all participated in this one particular application, got lots of scoring, after discussion, it doesn't score as high. I would give us that latitude, if you're following me. Just kind of a nice internal way for us to keep track of what you feel is valuable or not valuable, and then we'll have our own individual conversations, and that may change, depending upon input and comment and.
I'm gonna just mute it. I'll play it but mute it. So 0 is the least that anyone can score, of course. And then there's an available point right there. It is playing, he's just talking. So then you guys will just run through it. At the bottom, there is gonna be a submit section. He did go ahead and suggest that if you are gonna be using the score mechanism, you are able to go ahead and have 2 different windows open with Neighborly. So if you wanted to watch, if you have 2 monitors, then it's gonna be obviously a lot easier. But if you don't have 2 monitors and you wanted to watch maybe read the application on your phone and the other one on the iPad or on the laptop, you are able to do that, to log into from two different devices at the same time.
Can you divide the screen?
Yes, you can divide the screen as well, if you wanted to do that also. So you can open two windows at the same time if you wanted to divide your screen. On the left-hand panel, where he's pointing at right there, you are able to go ahead and see the application, the scoring section, and also the documents. The document section is where all of our applicants are gonna go ahead and upload any supporting documents, like any of their board members, the budgets, their audits that they provide to us, all those materials. In the application section, you'll be able to go run through the application, and then there's a little print button up here. And that's where you're able to go ahead and download and or print the applications
That'll
out.
be my luck.
So I
I'll be
would
allowed
mine
in the buttons for a
too.
while, but
But-
that's okay.
So I get, my stuff gets printed, I don't print it through home. So how will I be able to, will I have to download it all to my computer and then?
This is just a lot more user-friendly when it comes down to actually viewing them and using the scoring tool. So I'm very confident that you guys will do great on it. It is pretty user-friendly. That's literally all you'll have access to is the applications that I list out for you. So you won't get lost. Every application is gonna be part of the program, and you won't be able to edit or delete anything. So you won't mess up anyone's application.
And again, Bianca will be available, we'll have all kinds, so don't wait till the day before the meeting to start to review, that's all I would say. Brenda?
We did this before, didn't we?
I wanna say back in, when was it, maybe 2019?
2021.
21?
Yeah, it wasn't that long
That's why they're
ago.
on there.
Yeah.
That's why they're logged
It
on.
was a complicated process, especially for someone who's new to this committee. This looks more simplified and more user-friendly.
Yes, and then I will, when I reach out to you, letting you know that I am gonna go ahead and set you up again, or that you're gonna receive a notification email that you're still available in there. I will also send out a guide. They provided me with a user guide that will walk you through it as well. And if you guys would like, I'm not sure if I could send a video through email just because of the size, and we get blocked off after a certain size, but I could also try to send out the video. They can walk you through it.
Probably OneDrive, you can do it,
Oh,
and then
true.
open access to everybody.
But yeah, so I will be available, and it's pretty easy. I was very confident that's gonna be very easy.
For those of us who are older, it's a good challenge, it's good for our brain, it's like doing crossword puzzles or Sudoku, you know, we're just all gonna learn. Because I'm a
You
old
lost
printer
your
too,
two
but
screens.
that's okay.
I know, I have to
Okay.
print and read, that's the way I comprehend better. I don't do it well on
Yeah.
screen. I guess the one benefit to this will be that we won't get the cutoff of when they exceed the box.
So yes, I did ask about
number
that
of
one.
characters,
I did ask about that one. The one that always gets cut off
is
is
their description. Because they say the same stuff in every little box.
I feel like that one has been fixed. There's another section right here in the beginning of the program overview. That's where we list out the HUD AMIs, the financial limits, capacities. That actually is 100% viewable on here. I can't click because it's a video, obviously, but that one doesn't get cut off, and when we download, it cuts off.
Yeah,
Mhm.
well, and it
The
seems like all their
income
summaries.
Right.
Always, we'd get like half of a word and then it'd be like, all right, well, where's the rest of it?
I feel like last year was a little bit better though.
It
That
was,
one,
I
yeah,
do agree,
improved.
and I think
Mhm.
they're getting better too at
Being
longer
more
isn't
concise.
always better,
Mhm.
because then you just stop reading it.
Any questions? Excellent, then we're on number 6, which is member comments, any miscellaneous things. I've got nothing except to once again remind, Bianca does take a huge amount of effort in maintaining contact with all of our grantees and even those who are making presentations. So they do get notification a week before, you know, where are you, what's going on? We had a major issue with one of our applicants and then 2 new applicants for older programs that came in after the deadline. And in consultation with the chairman, McHenry County Board Chairman, we remained adamant that the cutoff was the cutoff. And we were sad, but there were numerous times that we reached out to these individuals, we reminded them, and in one case, the application wasn't even complete. They said that they didn't hit the button to send it. The application wasn't complete, so they weren't sending us anything. So I just want you to know that we made it very clear we want them to come back next year. They're excellent organizations. We just had to be rigid in following our own rules, and the deadline's the deadline. It's not fair to the other people who did follow the rules. So if you get any comments, it was not just me, it was in consultation with Hans Bianca and the board chairman that we came to that conclusion.
And it was someone that came last year after, and we made an exception. I mean, why are we not saying who it is?
Well, because I was being nice.
Catholic Charities. Sorry, we gave them an extension last year, said don't do it again, and they did it again. And we were very conflicted last year because of the seniors relying on the food that they provide, but you can't do it twice.
Get it together.
Yeah, and so I'm sure they got the message.
And they were notified. I mean, they were reminded. I feel maybe differently if there was nothing, but the attempt was made. I don't know what else to say.
So but that's what we said last year. This is the
Exactly.
only time this will be allowed.
Right, right. And only because our heartstrings were pulled, because there were so many seniors that we didn't want that access that program and we didn't want them to be without, but we were very clear. And so when Pam called me, I said, okay,
And they'll figure it out.
we were
They'll
very
figure it out.
clear last year because there were people that did not want it to even extend it last year.
Right.
And we did. And what's that saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. So, I do want to say, as part of the open part here, I am up for reappointment in September or October, I think I am. And I will not be doing that. We'll be hopefully getting someone else from the Housing Authority.
Not because you don't want to be with us, but your
No,
life circumstances have changed.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult. I'm paying a sitter to watch the kids the grandkids that I watch every day. So it has made it more difficult for me to
Will
do
you be on
this.
standby on the phone in case we have a question?
Always. I got her on speed dial now, so it's
You're a
good.
historian.
So yeah. So I just wanted to say that. So it's been what, 21 years?
I think you're right up there, yeah, 21 years.
I was here for the first meeting, so as long as it's been around, I have been here, so.
Wow. Will you be here for the September meeting still?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But that will be my last one.
I think you've been great help for us here in our division,
Thank you. I've seen a lot of
historical information, so.
And I still have a bunch of it, so I'm happy to pass it along,
We're not
what I
letting you
have.
go. We're not letting you go.
Well, we'll see.
And Mary, I want your phone number.
Because.
Suffice it to say, she's.
Because you have a lot of knowledge, and I would like to have you share it with me.
Oh, I would be happy to do that. I would be happy to do that.
Thank you.
If there is nothing else good for the order, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Peg, seconded by Vice
Yep.
Chair Reed. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're done. Nice job, ladies and
I know,
gentlemen.
I
I
said-
love it. It's
My
good.
daughter-in-law's like, how long? And I said,